Hey, bestie, and welcome to the newest episode of the podcast. As always, this podcast is not for children. This is for adults only, not for little ears, whatever you want to call it. Just buckle up because you guys have sent me some stuff. Oh my gosh, you have sent me the latest lolcow plob. Look, oh my gosh, there's so much. I'm not even going to be able to cover it all in one podcast. I will add a couple videos to TikTok after this, and I'm going to try and sit down and do a YouTube with all of the clips of this person because there are hundreds of this blog. Dear Lord, I think they might have beat Nova Online's record. If you haven't seen Toya, buckle up, bestie, because you are in for a ride. I'm also going to play some audio clips since this is an audio podcast. I will be playing some clips for you guys to hear of this shit. And we're going to go over it because, like I said, I've even seen several mutuals talking about this person. They are the latest plob. It reminds me, like I said, it reminds me a lot of people like Nova Online and people like Chris Chan and stuff. The level of plob entitlement that's here. So let's just dive right in. I also want to say I'm going to say they for Toya because I've seen people calling them a man. I've seen people calling them a woman. There's a video of them saying that they're a man, and then another one of them saying that they were born a woman. I don't know. They do have a beard, so I'm just going to say they. Also, just a little bet I have. As somebody who has been deep diving the VR world, I've not been on VR. I'm not on the VR world, but I've been sent a lot of VR chat videos to go over plob-wise. A lot of people have been like, oh, look at this one, look at that one. Like, I'm going to eventually cover that stuff, make a video showing, and a lot more because I've showed some before. But we've talked about VR plobs before. But it's something about this person tells me they're on VR. You cannot convince me they're not on VR chat. And they're one of the people on VR chat by the way that they talk. They talk exactly. They do the same bullshit that you see on these VR chat videos. There's a guy, I believe his name is Proximity Chat, that does like clips on these plobs in VR, and that is very much the vibes that this person gives. You may have also heard this person by the name of Oracle, but their name is Toya Oracle. I'm just gonna play, before we get into all of this, I'm gonna play you a quick clip of this person so you can have an idea of how bad this is about to get. So let me go and play that for you.
My dream was to rest. My dream was to have people paying for me to rest. And yeah, I have been able to raise thousands of dollars for myself over the years to rest, to stay housed, to feed myself. I would say that me simply existing as I am and not working for any organization or institution that is affiliated with the capitalistic aims of the empire is contributing life and peace to our community. I'm refusing to do labor for the U.S. government. I am standing in solidarity with Palestinians. I'm laying in bed all day and yapping. I'm doing the opposite of what the capitalist overlords want me to do. My lack of compliance, my lack of obedience, and my love of rest, I'm doing more for Palestinian liberation than Bible-thumping Christians.
So yeah, you heard the entitlement. So to sum up Oracle as a person, people are calling them the king of playing victim, and that is what they do. They, first of all, every single video. Why are you not clothed? They've got videos of them clothed on, but like every time they seem to be nude. And they seem to be dirty. From a lot of the clips I have seen, it looks like there's always something on them. Like they look unbathed in a lot of the clips that I have seen. And once again, it reminds me of Corbin. If you've not seen him, oh god. You may know Jupiter, or may know Corbin by the name of Jupiter because he goes by Jupiter Online. I've covered some of his lore before too, but he also constantly shirtless and just laying around and would leave stains on his bed from being gross plob. And this person, I've not seen their mattress or anything like that, but like the vibes that they give in a lot of their videos are very similar. And as you heard, they don't work. So they choose not to work because they believe that it makes them better than everybody else, basically. They're over here like, oh yeah, I'm doing more for Palestine because I'm not working and giving into the capitalist empire. Like, okay, what the fuck? All you're doing is making an excuse not to work. Somebody has put together a collage too of a collection of like all the different excuses they've given for not working. They refuse to work. As they said, their goal is to have people pay them to exist. They're not even actually trying to be a content creator. and put out real content. It's all, every video is just them complaining and pretending to be a victim. There's no real work. There's no talent there. It's just yap. They exist based off of being a plob and a lolcow and rage baiting. The sad part is a lot of the shit that they rage bait for, they actually mean and actually do. As you've heard with the whole resting thing, they believe that they're just so above everybody else in the world that we're supposed to just throw money at them so that they can exist. There was a point, there was another video of them where they were complaining and blaming everybody else for them about to be. I don't know if they actually ended up homeless, but there was a point where they like were getting kicked out and they were about to be homeless or something. And they said it was everybody else's fault because people weren't just throwing money at them, and that they should not have to work because they're not going to give in, because they deserve and are entitled to having everybody just pay for their life. It is next level entitlement. There's a reason why people call them the king of victims, because that is the victim combo. I mean, they think that everybody owes them everything. That's another thing, is they are super big about how everyone owes them everything. They did an entire video where they say that if you are skinnier than them, or if you're a lighter skin than them, this is a dark skinned black person, and they are including other black people in this. They said that like if a black person is a slightly lighter tone than them, then that means that they're oppressing them, and that if you're skinnier than them, you're oppressing them just by existing. Like that is their whole thing, is if you exist in this world, oh, they said if you have more money than them too, that you're oppressing them. If you are a lighter shade than them, they claim you're oppressing them. If you're even a pound smaller, then you're their oppressor according to them. And you owe them stuff. You owe you owe them money. So if you're, even a pound smaller, if you're a lighter, your skin's any bit lighter, if you make any more money than them, according to them, you're oppressing them by existing, and that you owe them the money to pay them to exist and pay them to rest, as they say. Hold on, I'm gonna play you the clip.
You are colorist. You are lighter than me. You are colorist. You are my oppressor, and you owe me reparations. If you are thinner than me, you are fatphobic. You are my oppressors, and you owe me reparations. If you have more money, more material resources than me, then you are classist, and you owe me reparations.
Yeah, you can't make this shit up. I'm not going to touch too much on the race stuff because that's not my place. Well, I do come from a mixed race family and I might be biologically mixed. I'm pale as fuck. But I do think it's insane to see a black person tell another black person that because their skin is slightly lighter, that makes them colorist, and that they owe them money and to take care of them because they were born with slightly lighter skin. I really wanted to comment when I saw that that particular video, be like, because my grandfather is darker skinned than this person. He's a very dark skinned black man. I really wanted to be like, oh, well, I guess then you owe my grandfather more money. And I have a friend whose mom is heavier set than them. So I was like, well, I guess you owe them reparations then by your own logic, Anybody who is darker or bigger or makes less than Oracle, apparently they're the ones that owe them reparations by what they're saying, that apparently they're freaking the oppressor and stuff. Like, make it make sense, dude. Make that shit make sense. How do you get to this level of entitlement? How do you get to this level of entitlement? There's another clip where they are, I guess they were getting kicked out. That's where the whole homeless thing, like, not sure if they were going to be homeless or they were actually were yet or whatever when I saw that. But there's another clip where they go into an entire rant about how their ex-roommate, who has children too, like this is a single person with no kids and stuff, but Oracle is. And from what I know, from what I've found, I deep dived, I can't find anything about them having kids or a partner, but they were living with somebody who had kids and a partner that was like letting them stay there. And apparently after like months, they were like, hey, since you're refusing to pay rent or pay me anything, you got to go. And Oracle goes into this entire tangent about how that person was oppressing them because they apparently taught this person's child how to like garden a little bit. Like they taught them how to plant a seed in soil is basically the whole thing. They're like, I showed your child how to put a seed in soil, so you owe me thousands of dollars worth of free rent and taking care of my grocery bill and taking care of my life. Like, legit thought that, bitch, first of all, a YouTube video can show you how to plant a seed in oil, or plant a seed in, sorry, not in oil, I don't know where that came from, but to plant a seed in fertilizer and potting soil and stuff. That you're not special, you're not teaching some crazy skill, you're not, like, imagine how entitled you have to be. That, first of all, that's really pathetic that you think that that's amazing, life-changing information that makes it so that you don't have to pay out, like, that somebody else owes paying all your rent. That's nothing special. Hell, 2-year-olds know how to bury something in the dirt. You sound fucking stupid, honestly. The Oracle sounds like the stupidest person on the fucking face of the planet with the level of entitlement, but also to think that showing somebody how to put a freaking seed in dirt is a fucking super smart, amazing skill that nobody else ever has, and they're so special for teaching this child that. You're not special. You're not smart. Like, the fact that you think that that's teaching somebody life-changing information that's worth thousands of dollars in rent, it's insane. And here's the thing is, keep in mind, I deep dive these clips. When I see a clip of somebody, I will go find the context. Because I've had people clip things of me and lie about the context. You know, we talked about this before. There are certain trolls that if I were to say, oh, I don't like the color purple on dog, they would clip it and say, oh, Ribbon said that they don't like the color purple. They're talking about the movie. They're racist, or, you know, making up shit, right? That's the level of fucking insanity I have dealt with. So I deep dive. I'm not going to just, you know, see a quick clip and assume the worst about somebody. But there's some shit, like, I have watched these are full videos they have posted. This is not somebody else giving context. There's not somebody else manipulating it, because that happens a lot, right? Like, when I saw people stitching this person, I was like, let me go see, and I watched the full video. But the fact that these are their full videos, there's no extra context, it's just them saying this shit themselves and talking about this shit and being that level of entitlement and ignorant and just a fucking plob wasted freaking time, like, on this app, is insane. And people are feeding into their delusion by flooding them with views, because people are following them and giving money and stuff in these lives. Please stop doing that. I see it with the Ash Trevino situation. People were like, oh, why is she still on live every single day doing all this crazy stuff? Like, why is she on live? We would keep doing it even when people were calling her out and stuff. It was because people were giving her money. Like, people were paying for it. Stop, for the love of it. Same with Latino. People were like, oh, Latino said they were leaving. Like, she went on a cruise. Okay, that's why she left. She came right back. People are like, oh, she's coming right back and doing crazy stuff again. Yeah, because you're giving her money by following her. Block them, for the love of God. Block them. Or if you want to, like, if you're like, oh, I want to get a little laugh out of it, then go and look up their videos, because once you've watched the video, if it does not show up on the FYP and you're just watching, you go and search for it, and so now that it's not, so that's going to make it so it doesn't go to the FYP, it will take away the revenue from it. They won't get any revenue from that. Especially if you do it, like, from the phone version and you look them up and, like, Google them and stuff. That way it doesn't have an account logged in. Please stop going and following these people and giving them money and everything. You're just making the problem worse. Oh, and a big one that is started, the big thing that started people calling them king of victims was not even the entitlement. It is this thing they do where they constantly falsely say people abuse them. So they're not falsely saying it in a way of like, oh, nothing happened. They falsely use it in a way, they're saying things that aren't abuse are abuse. So, for example, technically they were the abuser in this situation in particular. They have a video where they are talking about that had a intimate interaction that they had with someone. That person they were, you know, fooling around with, to put it lightly, and the person said, and so keep in mind, this person was born female. They say that in their video that they have a beard and everything. So, like I said, I don't know if they're they or he, but they were born female. They say this in the video. They were getting a little spicy with somebody after a date. How the fuck they got a date, I don't know. But they went on this date, and apparently this person had said, hey, I don't want to do anything. Like, I don't want to take this farther. I don't want to have intercourse, right? And stopped. Oracle is so fucking delulu entitled that Oracle said because they're born AFAB, they could, great. They can't, SA people apparently, which is not true. Women can be abusers too. Like AFAB people can be abusers too. But they said that person was abusing them by not wanting to get intimate with them because they're here's the crazy part, how they explain it. So this, like I said, this person said, "Hey, I don't want to be intimate," right? And in the clip of Oracle explaining why, they say, "Oh, well, because they wanted to get kinky too." We'll get into the kink thing. But they said by denying them being able to have sex with them, like them saying no, them said that the date saying, "Hey, I don't want to do this with you. I'm not, I'm not comfortable. I don't want to be intimate." By denying them sex, that's abusing them. Not they don't like. Do you know how insane that is? The only abuser here is Oracle. Oracle saying, "Hey, if you don't have sex with me, you're a bad person," is fucking abuse. That's the only real abuse. But Oracle is so twisted in their, thrive to be the victim that they are saying that the other person is the bad guy and that's their abuser. People saying no to allowing them to like stay with them for free, they're saying that's abuse. Not giving them not giving them money and stuff because they say everybody owes them reparations if they're lighter skinned or if they're like I said, it's insane to hear a black person tell another black person that they owe them reparations just because they're a little bit lighter. That's insane. But like I'm not going to touch too much on that. But like with the plus size thing too, and the having more money, they say everyone is abusing them if they are not giving them money for existing, basically. Like anytime somebody is saying that they're not going to give them money for just existing, they say, "Oh, well, you're an oppressor because you're smaller than me, or you're an oppressor because you have more money than me, so you owe me, which means you're an abuser." They call people classist just for if you make more money than them. If I don't know if you heard in the earlier clip, they say that you're classist. They say that if you weigh even a pound less than them, that you're fat phobic. If you were born with lighter skin than them, even if you're literally the same race, you're considered colorist to them and racist. I mean, they're over here pulling out every single card. Another essay related shit that happened with them is they have a video up where apparently they had a friend was the fucking they tried to claim ableism. So they had a friend who was just a friend who they were having a conversation with. Oracle said that they had a really rough week. And so they asked them to have a kink session with them. They wanted to have a kink session with them. And the person said, "No, I'm not comfortable with that. Like, I don't want to have a kink session with my friend." So they said, Oracle says that the person telling them no to having a kink session is an abuser and it is abusing them and oppressing them. And they're ableish bullshit because they're autistic, so they need to have a kink session. And telling them no to a kink session is abuse, which is fucking insane. It is not abuse. As an autistic kinky person, there's no fucking world that's abuse. Once again, Oracle is the actual abuse. As much as Oracle screams that people are abusers, every time they talk about interactions they have with people, most of the time they're the actual abuser. Either that or they're just entitled. Like, it's so many stories are either them being entitled or them being abusive, like, and claiming the other person's the abuser. Like, I don't know what level of narcissism that is, but it's up there. Going back to the former roommate that they had, the person they were living with, that had children, apparently they thought that it would be okay to walk around topless in the house. And they are, like I said, they were born female, so they have breasts. I mean, some dudes have breasts too, got man titties, whatever. Either way, and it shouldn't matter either way. I live near Austin, which is a topless sanctuary, and I truly do. I don't give a shit. To me personally, if you want to do what you want to do in your own home around other consenting adults, I don't think anybody should be shirtless around somebody else's kids. Well, I mean, obviously, if you're like going to the water park and people are in bikinis, you know what I mean, though. Like, you shouldn't be walking around the house with your tits out around people's children. And then when the person confronted them about it and said, "Hey, like, this is inappropriate. My children live here. You can't be walking around with your tits out." They said that they are abusing them by not letting them have their tits out around their children around the house. Like, that is so insane. They also said that that person was being grapey by not letting them walk around topless. I seriously, I want you to really think about that. They said they were being aka rapey, by not wanting them to walk around topless. This person didn't want them to walk around topless around their minor children. So they're saying that person's the grapey one, though. Buddy, like I said, what in the reverse is going on here? It's so backwards. They also said that it was them trying to coerce them into a relationship with them by telling them that they had to put their top on. You can't make this shit up. Hold on, I'll play another clip.
You're coercing them into a relationship with you because if they truly felt uncomfortable with me being topless around their children, they should have said that because actually I'm not dating.
That's the other thing is they did. They said so in their story, their own story, like Oracle's own fucking story, they say that they told them that it was inappropriate and they weren't comfortable with it. But then they're changing up and saying, "Oh, well, you should have said that in the first place." Blah blah blah. Here's the thing: is so they're saying that because they did not tell them, "Hey, can you not have your tits out around my kids?" That they're the problem for not saying that initially before they even did something. So that's like if you invite somebody over, you don't expect them to just take their tits out, right? Or take their dick out, whatever. You don't expect that, right? You don't feel like if I invited someone over to my house, I'm not going to say, "Hey, by the way, can you make sure you don't pull your tits out in front of my kids?" Because I'm not thinking that they're going to do it. Now, if they did it, well, then they'd be buried in my backyard. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is, well, I mean, don't worry, I wouldn't actually bury somebody in my backyard. There's pig farms up the road. I'm not stupid enough to leave evidence in front of my thing. Like if a pedophile ever tried, I promise you, I'm not leaving evidence around the house. But anyways, I'm not confessing any crimes. Just saying, like, I'm just saying hypothetically, if some predator came into my house and tried to expose themselves to my kids, I will take care of the problem. But this person says that Oracle is saying that by not explicitly telling them that they didn't want them to be topless around their kids, that it is their fault and they're trying to coerce them and that they're being the grapey one by not telling them in first and only getting upset after they expose themselves to their kids. Nobody's fucking expecting you to expose yourself is why they didn't say anything first. You should not have to go up to every single person you meet and go, "Hey, by the way, can you not expose yourself? Hey, can you not do that?" Because normal people don't do that in the first place. Like I said, there's plenty of people who are, go topless in their house or whatever, around other consenting adults and stuff. But once again, they're having conversations about it first. They're not just like, imagine if I just walked into your house and just took my tits out. It's insane. It's insane. Like there are things like nude beaches and nudist collies meetings and stuff. If you're somebody that wants to do that, but that's around consenting adults that are expecting that kind of behavior because it's a nudist beach or something. But y'all just add like the way Oracle tries to make it seem so everybody else is the problem. This plob is next fucking level. They also, another thing Oracle said about this particular person that they lived with was also that they were abusive by not allowing them to be topless because that was something they needed. You don't need to be topless, bitch. Let's see how Oracle thinks people think of them, though. I'm gonna play you a clip of what they think people think of them.
They're inspired by me. They envy me. They want to be me.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be you. And imagine the entitlement, man. I need to have a conversation with this person's parents, which I'm pretty sure they don't talk to him anymore. I wouldn't blame them. I don't blame the parents for running from that situation. But like, buddy, what the fuck went wrong here? Oh, speaking on entitlement, another video is they have a video where they say that if you don't make your event free, then it's not accessible and it's racist. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, not joking. They say they have a little jingle they sing with it and everything, and saying that if your event isn't free, so like a concert, a convention, any kind of private events, if you are not just giving out these things for free, then it's ableism and racism. That's fucking not true. Imagine your favorite band on the planet is going on tour and you walk up to the ticket booth and go, "You're ableist and racist because you're not making this event free for everyone. So it's not actually accessible then." Be so fucking for real. Speaking of accessibility, Oracle is a fucking hypocrite too on remember earlier I was talking about and played that clip of you of them saying that, anybody who was lighter skinned than them was their oppressor and everything. Well, they were talking about accessibility in this video on saying that this black-owned business that would not sponsor them, or that I don't quite understand exactly what they were trying to get from this person, but they said this basically the business would not give them something for free. They go into this tangent about how they're being ableist because they won't give them stuff for free. They're taking resources from them. They're stealing resources from them by not giving them something for free. And I really had to fight the urge to, because this is not on their account has now been banned for all of their bullshit. But you can still find plenty of there's entire pages, all these clips and stuff, and showing the full videos. I also saw some before somebody had sent it to me before they ended up getting banned. But anyways, I just thought it was ironic. I really wanted to comment and be like, well, aren't you their oppressor because you're darker skin or you're lighter skin than them? Because the business they were talking about, the woman was darker skin. So I'm like, you just said that anybody lighter than you is your oppressor. And now you're saying that this person's being ableist by not giving free resources, but shouldn't you owe them repercussions? Reparations, because you said that anybody lighter owed you reparations. Well, you're lighter than them, so like by your own logic, you owe them. But king of the victims makes a whole video bashing this business, going on and on about. They also do this entire rant about how like the rest of the Black community, according to them, is like refusing, is ableist towards them because they're not giving them free resources and they should be taking care of them. It's so insane. And the crazy part is I'm barely skimping on covering a lot of that stuff, because once again, that is not my place to get more in depth on that. That is interesting to the Black community. I've seen plenty of videos of people from the Black community already calling this bitch out on like more in depth stuff. But just an example, the things that I already listed, like the level of insane they are with this kind of shit. Like, highly recommend if you want a rabbit hole to go down is the Oracle one. Oh, correction, I forgot I had not gotten to one of these videos. Or correction from earlier, I had said I did not know if they were homeless or not. They are in fact homeless. They were in fact homeless for a couple of years. Because I did see the videos of them blaming everybody else, saying it's their fault, that the rest of the world's fault that they were going to be homeless because people weren't giving them money for living and existing, even though they claim that they're entitled to it from anybody who is skinnier than them or makes less money or makes more money or lighter skin, all that crap. But I just took a break for a second. I'll admit I took a break for a second to stretch, and somebody had sent me another video, and of course I'm literally sitting here recording. It's Sunday night when I'm sent a video of them talking about the homelessness. So, perfect timing on that. But yeah, in that video, they go on and on about how they are being financially abused because nobody will pay their rent. So it is everybody else. In this video, they're going into a whole rant about how, people have a smear campaign. First of all, as somebody who's had people actually lie about them, the fact that this person even says that they have no proof of it, and then what they say is the smear campaign, is insane. Because everything that they say, it's stuff that they openly admit to doing. They just say isn't abuse. Like they go into this thing about how it's considered a smear campaign about the kids, with them being topless around the kids, and they say, well, there's nothing wrong with that. People are just ableist and abusing me by not letting me be topless around their kids. Like, how fucking insane are you? But they say that it's financial abuse for anybody to talk about real actions that they've done. They admit to doing them. They're not saying that they didn't do them. Oracle is saying, hey, I did this stuff, but it's abuse for you to tell people that I did these bad things, because they don't see them as bad things. They see everybody else as, they say everybody else is abusing them by not allowing them to abuse them, basically. Once again, like telling somebody that you're abusing, that they're abusing you because they won't have sex with you is insane. It's actually a form of coercion, because at that point, if you are guilt tripping somebody into having sex with you, like if this person had went forward with this kink session or the having sex part, that would have been rape, because it would have been coercion by rape by coercion, because you would have coerced them into having sex with you. Like, you would be locked up. The fact that you honestly believe that somebody telling you no to sex makes them an abuser because they won't have sex with you is insane. But apparently they were homeless for 2 years, and they say that it's everybody else's fault. They said that everybody who didn't give them money to pay their bills was financially abusing them for not paying their bills just for existing and living. In that same video about the homelessness, they also go into a rant, I'm going to skip over all the hypocrisy because it's, like I said, it's the same thing over and over again. I apologize to keep repeating this stuff, but this is they go on the same stick every time. But there is a point where they say that anybody who is not actively giving them money is taking food out of their mouth. And it's like, What? So, just a heads up, everybody who's listening to this podcast, just so you know, according to Oracle, we are all abusing them. We're all abusing them because we're not fucking giving them money to exist and be a plob and be gross and disgusting and do predatory behavior. All of us listening right now, we're all fucking, unless they listen to this, like, but apparently we're all abusing them. Just a heads up. As somebody who has actually experienced abuse, I've volunteered in domestic violence for over a decade. I survived sociopath. People have seen the videos of that man trying to kill me. Like, as someone who has survived actual abuse, not to mention all the abuse I actually suffered as a child, have the medical documentation, the fucking court reports, everything for. I cannot stand people who play the fucking victim about shit that isn't actual abuse, especially when they are the abuser. They are the fucking abuser in majority of these situations that they talk about. They're the abuser. But they scream that everybody else is abusing them by not just paying them for being a stinky, dirty plob that exposes themselves around children. They also, in that same video, start going into a rant. Now, keep in mind, the video right before it that they had posted was the one saying that everybody envied them and everybody wants to be them because they're just so much better than everybody else in the world, that everybody wants to be them. They then go into a fucking rant crying about how it's not fair that some people don't love them and because they haven't done anything to them that they should love them. First of all, you just listed off 50 things that you did to them. And now you're saying that it's just wrong and they're being cruel by not loving you. And it's like, the fuck? Well, you guys, I guess it's abuse that Ryan Reynolds doesn't love me because how dare him? Now, Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, Jack Black, any of these super hot celebrities that I like, since they don't love me, I'm going to say that they're cruel and it's wrong that they don't love me, and that's abuse. Because according to Oracle, it is. Anybody that doesn't love them and give them a bunch of money, just for existing, that's abuse. For those watching on YouTube, listening on YouTube, let me know who's abusing you. Which one of your celebrity crushes doesn't love you? Because just so you know, according to Oracle, it's abuse that they don't love you. It's just super cool. They're bullying you by not loving you. So, just say it. Just saying. I'm also just curious to see what other people's celebrity crushes are because I got made fun of for mine a lot because Samuel L. Jackson is older and because Jack Black is a chubby guy, but I fucking love both of them. But yeah, apparently they're abusing me by not loving me back and not knowing that I exist. Oh, something I forgot to mention earlier when we were talking about their sexual offenses is they also believe that kids should be watching porn and should have full access to it. They have a whole video that I'll just play it for you, but basically to sum it up, they're trying to say that if you want kids to have sex education, that you need to give them access to porn, and that all kids should have access to porn so they can learn about sex that way, which we'll go into in a second on how that's a horrible thing.
How do you think they're going to get that sexual education if they do not have access to pornographic materials?
So at first, when I first heard that part, I thought they were just saying medical textbooks or stuff. But no, they go into a 10-minute tangent about how kids should have access to just straight up porn, like porn sites and everything. And I'm pretty sure it's them trying to fucking justify their bullshit with exposing themselves to kids. But that is a terrible idea for so many fucking reasons. And don't get me wrong, I think most of us enjoy a little porn that are adults. Between consenting adults. But children sure as fuck should not be exposed to it and just given fucking porn like this person is saying. It can fuck them up for life too. Now, here's what I'm talking about when I say it can fuck them up for life. Is if you have a young child who doesn't, is still developing, doesn't understand sex, and they start taking advice from porn, especially the more hardcore shit, which this person is saying they should have just access to sites and stuff, so they're going to see hardcore stuff. It's going to give them a warped idea of what sex is going to be. I don't want to go into too graphic of details, but that's the kind of stuff that you would end up in an ER story time for me for. Like, the sex sent me to the ER and stuff is because of people trying to take stuff from, and I talk about this a lot in my kink safety classes that I do at events. If you don't know, I teach kink safety, that way couples don't end up in these ER stories, and how to do things with your partner and stuff consensually and safely. But porn does not cover. So, porn is fantasy. It's just like fantasy books. For example, if you're reading a fantasy book and or a fan fiction and it's a character you like in the show and they're it's a stranger encounter and they come up to you and they're like, get in the car, baby, you're mine, or some shit. That's hot in a fantasy book. But if a fucking random man came up to you and was like, get in the car, you're mine now, baby, you're gonna call the fucking cops and mace him. Same thing with preps versus safety. There's certain safety things that are in precaution, compared to porn. Just also grossness in general, like cleaning out your ass before before you do a porn shoot, if you're going to do anal or something like that. There's a lot of stuff that porn does not show. Porn is fantasy. Fun fact, I have a friend who was really big on OnlyFans for a while. They're not like millionaire big, but she was making like $500,000 a year, right? She ended up marrying somebody that was an OnlyFans subscriber to her. She got divorced from her husband and married him. She actually now runs a gaming shop, ironically. She runs a card shop. She used that money to open a card shop about 2 hours from here. And we were having a conversation one time about how like it kind of ruined porn for her husband because she realized after seeing all these videos of her faking it for OnlyFans, he realized like once actually having intercourse with her and hearing what she actually sounds, she was like, oh my god, it really is all fake. And it's like, yeah. But a child is not going to understand that. So you allowing them to look at certain content and thinking that that just counts as sex education and stuff is so dangerous. They're going to normalize things that they should not be normalized. There are grown men out there. There are grown men and some women who don't understand porn as fantasy and will think like certain things are real that aren't, and then it gets in a dangerous and unsafe situation because of it. You should never be taking hints or tips from porn. Now it's one thing if you look at a video and you're like, oh, that's a good position or something like that, and you, oh, I want to try that out. That's different. If you sit down and say, oh, me and my wife saw this video, we want to try this out, let's go learn how to do it properly and safely, and then explore it. A child does not have the cognitive ability to make those rational decisions. Like I said, there are grown adults who don't even do that. Do you know how many times we had people come in the ER that I worked at for anal tears because they'd seen a porn and thought anal, you just slide it in there. It didn't count in the prep work and the stretch, all of that. I'm not going to go into detail, push all out, but like, so many anal tears come into the ER. Not just the people getting stuff stuck up their butt, but like literal ripping and tearing their insides from doing things. And it's the same with vaginal tears too. People having severe burns on their body because they go to do temperature play with candle wax thinking, oh, we're going to do a little wax play. I've seen it all over. It's so spicy and blah, blah, blah. And they use a Bath and Body Works candle or a non-body safe candle because like not majority of candles you buy from the regular store are not body safe. You need to buy body safe candles if you're going to do something like that for a good reason. It's the way it melts. It's the chemicals in it. It's the heat that it does can cause severe burns. I've seen people literally have to get a skin graft because they used a random candle from Walmart for temperature play and caused severe burns. Sorry to go on that tangent. We're going to get back to Oracle's shit. Let's go over the next thing they did. So apparently this has been a problem, by the way, with Oracle since they were a kid. They tell a story about how, and here's the thing is I grew up in severe poverty. We've talked about this before. I got free school lunch and stuff. Like if, that sometimes our parents wouldn't fill out the forms and I literally would not have food at school and stuff, right? But they talked about how in school, if the other kids were getting something and they were not because they couldn't, they said, if another kid was getting something and they couldn't, that they would throw a fit in the room, throwing themselves to the floor, throwing stuff around until they were given what they wanted. Because they say that it does not matter that they couldn't afford it, that they deserved it. And don't get me wrong, I do believe that this whole shaming kids over not having lunch money is fucking bullshit. It is not the child's fault. Parent is in that situation and stuff, we shouldn't be shaming children over it. But saying that because she had this, sorry, I don't know. Like I said, I really don't know their pronouns. They say, that, they, something about getting 6 lunch boxes and beef patties or pizza and all that stuff. First of all, juice boxes. 6, who the fuck is drinking 6 juice boxes? Jesus Christ. That's how you end up with childhood diabetes. You should not be having 6 juice boxes at one lunch sitting. But anyways, they go in about how they throw stuff around and stuff, and they, as a child, they would throw tantrums throwing stuff around until they were given what they wanted. And that's where this fucking behavior comes from. I'll tell you right now. The fact that nobody stopped that as a child is how they have gotten this far. It is how they are so entitled. If a child is throwing a temper tantrum over something they want but don't need, because they do say that they were being provided food, just not what they wanted. But if a child starts throwing shit around and throwing themselves down, having a temper tantrum, violent temper tantrum from how they described it, and you just give them what they're wanting, you are teaching them that they can do that for the rest of their life. That's some parenting failure right now. Now, this person is at an age where it is no longer the parent, it is now their fault that they are this bad. So, yes, the parents letting them and allowing them to do that is their fault that they grew up like it. But there is also a point in adulthood where you can no longer blame how you were raised or where you grew up at. You have learned by living in society that these things are not acceptable. Just like the showering thing is, I've seen so many people will be like, oh, well, I don't shower because my parents didn't think it was important as a child. Okay, well, you're now an adult and you've been around in society and know that it is important. There's no excuse in you smelling like shit. Speaking of, I apologize if you heard that Discord notification. I had to pause for a second. Speaking of entitlement, I just had somebody send me a fucking dick pic on Discord. Of course they did. This is why I don't like adding people. I'm not on Discord that much anyways, but I literally had somebody send me a picture. Fucking Christ. Was like, they sent me a message. I was waiting for somebody, one of my mutuals on TikTok, to add me, and I didn't know what their username was. I just given them mine, so I thought it might be them. That was not them. That was not my mutual on TikTok. That was a fucking tiny ass, sir. Like, I literally was sitting here recording and I see a notification on Discord. I'm thinking, oh, it's probably that TikTok person. Let me go look. Nope, it was a dick. It was a very small dick too. What the? I swear to God, I have tiny hands and my thumb was bigger. What the fuck? I don't even know if that counts as flashing or not because I'm barely anything there to see. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I got distracted. Let's get back into Oracle. So I want to be clear once again. If you're a grown ass adult, there's no excuse to have this kind of behavior. You know, you learn that this behavior's not okay by being in society and everything. You know, there's a point where you can't blame thing, but I'll blame people. Blame how you grew up. Sorry. But I also want to say, y'all need to stop feeding. Not you guys, obviously. People who are listening to this aren't fucking idiots. But I appreciate the fact that my audience has brain cells. But there are people who will still feed into it as an adult, and that's another thing with Oracle. Another thing with Oracle is there is a point where they're talking about, they are a manipulator. I'll tell you that. They are a fucking manipulator. You can tell by the way they talk about how they talk to people and everything. They try to manipulate people into, as we've talked about and showed the audio, or listen to the audio clips of them literally talking and blaming everybody else, right? When they're the one being bad and being an abuser, while accusing other people of being abused. They talk about how they were like in a relationship with somebody for like 6 months living together. And they say that they confronted them about the abuse or whatever. This is not the person with kids, by the way. This is somebody else. And they say that they've convinced the person to apologize for their abuse, and that they're telling them that the only way they can make it up their abuse is they need to buy them a separate house so that they can, Oracle saying that this person needs to buy them a house, and that's the only thing that they can do to make it right, is because so that's not the only thing they want from them, but it's the first step is what they call it. This is the first step for them to make this right, is for them to buy them a house so they can have a separate living space, because by not buying them a house, then they're oppressing them. Yeah, I'm not kidding. First of all, they didn't even pay for bills while living with this person, and now they want them to buy them an entire separate house because they say they're so fucking entitled to it, and that if they don't buy it for them, that they're oppressing them. I'm just gonna play you a quick clip of Oracle talking about everybody they've ever lived with. Keep in mind, all of these people are providing them free housing, letting them live with them for free because they think they're entitled to it. This is a grown adult. Let me show you how they talk about them, and I'm going to give you some more context afterwards.
We got evicted.
Keep in mind that it was Oracle's fault that they got evicted in the first place, and they say that was abuse, that they allowed that to happen. It's not like the person had a choice. It was Oracle's fault they got evicted, but let's keep going.
Another person who abused me, after that I was living with my relatives and other roommates who were also abusive towards me, because unfortunately there are high rates of abuse for people like myself.
I need you to be so fucking for real. As somebody who has been in multiple abusive relationships, as somebody who has actually been in multiple abusive relationships and had shitty roommates and stuff before, there is no fucking way possible that every single person you've ever lived with at your old ass age, because I'm pretty sure they're even older than me, no, especially since you've already told these stories about what you claim is abuse, when realistically, in most of them, you're the fucking abuser. So let's go over what they say is abuse. Okay, they say, just check off the list. Somebody telling them that it's not okay for them to expose their tits to their children. They say that's abuse for them to not allow that. They say that the other person was abusing them by allowing them to get evicted because it was Oracle's fault they got evicted in the first place because of their behavior, and because that person was paying for all their rent. They are now saying the other person is abusing them by not buy if they don't buy them a house, if they don't buy them a separate house just for them. Like, are you fucking kidding me? The other person, they said, the other abuse was the person not having a kink scene with them because they said they weren't comfortable with it. So by telling them no to the kink scene or telling them no to sex, they are abusing them, according to Oracle. Or that's what Oracle claims they're a victim of. And it's so insane because it's like, how do you not hear yourself fucking talking? You are the fucking abuser in these situations. And you are so entitled that you have convinced yourself and try to convince other people that you're the one being abused while you're actively doing the abusing, and you're not even trying to deny it. You're openly admitting to doing these things. Oh, hold on. We're going to go over the next thing that they say, but I'm going to play it for you. And yes, you heard this right. Okay, I had to, this one gave me whiplash when somebody sent me this video about a week ago. This one, it gave me like whiplash. I had to listen to it like 4 times to make sure I was actually hearing what I was hearing.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where a lot of people have been indoctrinated into the cult of personal responsibility,
Yeah, you heard that right. But wait, there's more.
which is not only why I am not getting my needs met because people think that it's my sole responsibility to get my needs met, but it's also why people abuse me because
Yep, you heard that right. They say that it is indoctrination and a cult to take personal responsibility, and that the idea of having any kind of personal responsibility, being responsible for yourself, the idea of being responsible for yourself in any capacity and being responsible for your needs, it's a cult to think that, and that if you think that, you're abusing Oracle. If you think that Oracle should take any kind of personal responsibility for any of their personal needs and do anything to provide for themselves, then you are abusing Oracle. Bitch, what the fuck? You can't make this shit up. The irony is, as we heard earlier, they say that everybody owes them everything, right? But having personal responsibility, and they're always trying to claim they're holding their abusers accountable. But you just said there's no such thing as personal accountability and personal responsibility. But you want other people to take responsibility for what you claim they did to you, even though you're the abuser in those situations. Make it fucking make sense. See, you know what I think? I think you just don't want to take personal responsibility because you are so entitled. You were allowed as a child to continue to be entitled. You've manipulated people into doing bullshit and convincing them that they are abusers when you are the abuser, because that is something that a lot of narcissistic manipulators do. And you have such levels of ideations and delusions of grandeur, along with your narcissistic manipulative bullshit of being king of the victims, that you don't take with personal responsibility. You're choosing not to take personal responsibility, but you say that personal responsibility and personal accountability is considered a cult so that you can feel better about being a fucking shit of a person. That's what I think. And while obviously professionally I can't diagnose somebody or anything like that, I lose my LPC or anything, but like, in my opinion, not my professional opinion, my personal opinion, that does have some professional information added to it, making sure I say this properly, due to my educational background. You're a fucking narcissistic, manipulative piece of shit. The level of delusions of grandeur and entitlement scream narcissistic personality disorder. But like I said, I'm not diagnosing somebody. I'm not saying 100% that they have that. I am not saying that as a professional opinion. I'm saying in my personal, private opinion, that just has, I do have an educational background, so I'm just disclosing that. And like I said, I apologize that my volume has gone up and down throughout this podcast because and a lot of people that follow me, because my work in domestic violence and donating to my CF, to the Domestic Violence Shelter and Resource Center, a lot of people that follow me are victims of actual abuse who have survived or alive. A lot of survivors on my page. I have people who are currently going through stuff. I've posted on my page before, hey, this month we're sponsoring this person or whatever. So to somebody who sees abuse all the time, who has survived it and volunteers and sees the horrificness of it, having somebody who has admitted themselves to abusing people while playing victim and pretending the other person's abuser, it gets under my skin so badly. I do want to say one thing that I found really funny when I was diving into this person is Oracle has multiple times said that their ex is an abuser and has abused them for not giving them what they wanted and stuff and not paying for their existence. And people were, I don't know if people were coming to their page or not because I didn't see any rude comments. They might have deleted them, but I don't imagine people were really giving rude comments because I mean it's pretty obvious to everyone that Oracle is the problem here, not the other person. But on that other person's page, they've made a post and it says, "There's no story time. I'm 31 years old and I have a life." And I thought that was fucking hilarious because that is such a valid response to lolcows. That's how I've taken a lot of like when I have trolls because fucking why is every single person that lies about me trolls is fucking unwashed incel femcel bullshit. Like it's so funny. As soon as somebody says there's like a video about me and they send it to me, it's always somebody that looks like they haven't bathed in 6 years and is a hoarder and blah blah blah. Anyways, not gonna get into that, but like I have that response with a lot of them because they're like always these tiny accounts that are just trying to get clout and mad that I talk about plobs and trying to play victim, being like, "Oh, it's not my fault I don't wash my ass. I'm pheromone maxing." That and all the fucking predators that get mad because I say predators should fucking die. They get offended. "Oh, I mean, our lives matter. I don't care what he's convicted of." Shut the fuck up. No, they don't. But like, that's my response too with a lot of it. I don't even acknowledge them. I don't anymore. I don't want to waste my time. It's like, dude, I'm a grown ass adult. I'm not gonna sit here and feed into this stuff. But that's also what they want. That's why I tell people don't fucking donate to them. Don't respond and stuff when they try to do these bullshit videos or call it because this Oracle also likes to call it any commenter that points out that they're a lazy entitled piece of shit and they'll do entire videos on them. Don't feed into their attention because that's all they want. That's all they fucking want is attention. And while it's still Oracle's personal responsibility, even though they don't fucking believe in it, to be fucking fixing their behavior and in their entitlement stuff, you still don't want to enable them. Enabling is still bad. I did just go through because I didn't want to leave like questions since earlier I mentioned how I didn't know if they were no contact with their parents or not. They do have a video saying they're no contact with their parents because their parents wouldn't buy shit and because their parents didn't keep some house that they wanted or something. So yeah, once again, entitlement. But I did want to go ahead and clarify that. I literally just paused and like was deep diving because we're almost towards the end of the podcast, and I was like, I don't want to leave questions because I was asking that earlier, and I didn't want like people to be sitting there wondering. But I do once again want to play another clip of some words that Oracle has for the public, and ironically, they literally have their Cash App and coffee and everything in this video where they're making a video to the public. So I just wanted to share this clip of what Oracle would like to say to all of us.
At this point in time, if you have never sent me reparations, whether it be in the form of money, or acts of service, or redistribution of resources, then you have abused your power. You need to either pay up or unfollow me. Guys, you will be complicit. You have already been complicit in my suffering.
They go on for like another 10 minutes. I'm not going to subject you guys to that, but I just wanted to let you guys know that apparently we are all complicit abusers, complicit in Oracle's pain and suffering, and we're all horrible, abusive people that are oppressing them because we have not sent them any money and just for existing. Even though I didn't even know who the fuck this person was until a month ago when people started sending me videos. But I just wanted to let you guys know that we're all just horrible pieces of shit, apparently, because we're not paying Oracle to exist. Just a little FYI, so you guys are all informed where we're standing, Fucking Christ. I am going to go ahead and stop. We're going to do closeout. I'm going to go ahead and stop the talking about Oracle because that's just a summary. Like I said, I'm going to make eventually a YouTube video. I know I'm fucking horrible about making YouTube video. I know. I fucking Christ. It's funny that I get called a liar for calling out like pieces of shit and exposing people's criminal histories of being predators and all that stuff, right? And their criminal records and stuff. And even when I fucking include videos and photos, of course, people defend me of pieces of shit that I've exposed, right? But like, I think it's funny when people like that call me a liar because the one thing when I'm not. But the one thing I do lie about is my fucking timelines on uploads. I'm so fucking bad. Like, I always get my podcast out on Monday. I don't always get a Thursday one, but I always at least get the Monday one whenever Podbean decides to release it, even though I set it to release at midnight. Sometimes it takes them a day. But with YouTube, I am always like, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this video done. And then I I'm so bad about it. Same with TikTok. Like, I will be like, I'm like the other day I had somebody who wanted to see an Oogie Boogie plush, because I my Squishmallow, my emotional support squishes for my plob stories, and I like go to show. And I was like, I'm gonna get it for you, and it took me like a week before I responded to that comment, finally showing it. I'm so bad about it. I'm sorry. I will fully admit and take responsibility, and like Oracle, I'll take responsibility for my actions. I am so bad about when I'm gonna get shit out. So I will work on this. But once again, if you just search Toya Oracle, Toya Oracle, you will find page after page with all of these full videos of them. Like I said, I don't believe in like people clipping stuff and whatnot. I think context is important, but you guys have heard the context. You guys can go look up the context. It is literally exactly what I'm saying. It is fucking insanity. I mean, I said the amount of videos people sent me, the amount of people who have sent me videos for a month now on this person. It's been crazy. I mean, every time I see, it's so funny because like I get my follower stories sent in and stuff. I've got a few that I need to catch up on. But I also get people sending me plot stories like this, and I always do eventually get to it. That's the thing, is I will always eventually get to it. Somebody sends me something and I say, hey, I will get to it eventually. It just takes me a little bit. But the amount of, because, I'm a contributing member of fucking society, unlike some people. Yeah, I'm a little busy washing my ass instead of leaving shit streaks at the Magic Gathering night, right? Or doing VR chat. Like I said, I feel like if Oracle was given VR chat, or if they don't already have it, they'd fucking be all over it. Because when we do our episode on the VR chat, you're like the full episodes. I've done clips before. You guys gonna see, but like, fucking Christ, the level of entitlement there is it's so, the plob, the dirtiness, the grossness, the predator behavior that they display is just insane. I mean, I every time I think we have reached peak plob insanity, somebody else comes out of the woodworks and is somehow worse. They're somehow worse. I actually also need to do a story time um on TikTok, where I had somebody reach out to me about they were a hotel maid at a con, and that was fucking nightmare. I'm going to cover that later this week. We have set up a time and stuff for Thursday's episode. Will be the interview with Hayden. We have set up a time to redo that, because if you don't know, I did that interview to talk about autism within autism within convention and fandom space, and also and tips for those who are neurodivergent or maybe introverted or whatever the case may be that you might struggle within fandom space. But also, he's got some plot stories and stuff, and we had technical issues, so we had to re-record it. So we're re-recording it tomorrow, so that will be out on Thursday. This is coming out for Monday's upload. If you need a rabbit hole to go down, there's so much I did not cover in here. But as always, everybody remember personal hygiene, hydrate, keep yourself clean, healthy, safe. If you feel down and bad about yourself, just look up some lolcows, because you're about to feel way better. I appreciate everybody sticking around. We are only a few hundred, I was thinking like 400 hours away from actually being able to get monetized on YouTube, like 400 watch hours away. So I really need to work on that so that we can get monetized, so we can start working towards saving money to open that Veterans Crisis Center, the local Battles Buddy chapter, because I really want to be able to do that to help veterans in my area, especially because we are the biggest city for homeless veterans and veterans crisis issues, because I'm next to Fort Hood. But as always, I'm a Kindle with unchangeable accessories for their pleasure, and I'll see you guys Thursday.